channel. My name is Lydia. This little girl here is Nuki. We're very excited to take you through today's hip opening sequence where we're going to be moving through a few asanas, poses, that's going to really target through your hips and the psoas muscle. So this is going to be great for any one of you. I think majority of us may suffer from tight hips. This is going to be an absolute burst of release. Great one for beginners too, because we're holding the postures for about 5 to 7 breaths at a time. So that's going to give you a lot of time to just enjoy the bliss of the stretch. So let's join me on the mat. Find yourself in a completely relaxed position, sitting tall at the top of your mat. The eyes are heavy, the shoulders are relaxed, and your breath is at a comfortable rhythm. Feel each and every long, slow, deep breath. Breathing in fully and exhaling fully. Allow your breath to try and find its own natural rhythm. Hands to Anjali Mudra at the heart. Let us begin our practice by setting a positive intention. Gently release the hands. Let's find ourselves in a downward facing dog. Spreading the palms, index, middle finger, pointing forwards. And have your feet spread out hip distance apart here. If the hamstrings feel tight, you can bend and extend the legs. And just be kind to those hamstrings. See if you can lengthen your tailbone away from the back of the pelvis. Stay in this pose here. And then lift your right leg up to the sky. Start to bend the right knee, open and across. So what we're trying to do here is target the hip joints. See if you can open and shine the hip flexor all the way up towards the sky. Make sure that your left heel is connected down to the mat. Now bring the right foot outside of the right hand and let's make our way into Uttan Prishtasana, lizard lunge. This pose is a deep lunge that strengthens through your groin and your inner hamstrings. You can lower the back knee down if you want to be more restorative about the practice and just simply work on flexibility. But if you want to work on strength, you can tuck your back toes and lift the back knee off the floor. Another variation is to potentially lower down onto your forearms here. We're trying to prepare our body for some deeper hip openers here. Breathing in and breathing out. Exit the pose, bring your left hand off the mat and spin the right foot so you're pressing into the edge of the foot, and place your right hand on the inside of the right thigh as you start to feel an opening sensation around your glutes. Relax through the shoulders. Take the time to really start to open through those glutes. Palms down on the mat. And now bring your right hand on the outside of the right foot
And we're going to press up into lunge position, Anjaneyasana. This pose can also be known as crescent moon pose here, except for this version, perhaps keep your hands either on top of your thigh, or you can release the fingertips behind you and then start to take it deeper into a back bend as well. There are many different variations you can include with your hands. You can even reach them back above your head. Just keep an eye on the alignment here. Make sure your right knee is directly above the ankle. Left hand down, right hand down, and support yourself to come into pigeon pose. Good. Take your time. If there's a gap between your right glute and the floor, make sure you come and sit on something, guys. Depending on your hip flexibility, you can bring the right foot a little bit further forwards. Slide your left leg back and point the toes to the back of the space, and your heels are the ones that are pointing up towards the sky. Keep in mind this scissoring action of bringing the hips together in line with one another by drawing your legs towards each other. Stay for a few breaths here. With every exhalation, you're trying to release tension in your right hip. To come out of the pose, push through the hands, lift your hips, and slowly press back into a downward facing dog. Recognizing the differences between the right and the left side of your body. Just paying attention to the tiny little shifts that have occurred in the physical layer. Let's turn our toes together and point feet out to the side, and now lift your left leg up to the sky and start to bend the left knee. Think about how you can shine the hips all the way up to the sky. In this posture, we are trying to improve our range of motion and circulation around the left hip. And when we do so, know that it's going to help alleviate a lot of back pain that maybe you might be suffering from. And it's just this big, bright sense of release. Very slowly, make your way into lizard pose, left foot outside of the left hand, however you wish to get there. If you want to go deeper, challenge your hips, then take it down onto the forearms. Remember that this pose is very deep and you need a lot of patience as you begin your journey here by coming into this pose. So with daily practice, you're going to find that you're going to be able to sink a little deeper. Please try and keep in mind your left knee close to your left armpit, left shoulder. If you're coming down but the knee starts to turn out to the side, then we're not really going as deep into the pose as we think we are. Palms down, Bring your right hand to the outside of the mat, spin onto the edge of the left foot, and then place your left hand on the inside of that left thigh as you gaze backwards here. You can turn this into an active or a passive posture, depending on what your body is feeling. So if it's passive, don't push too hard, just allow your body to take advantage of settling into it naturally. If you want to make it more active, use your hands and push out against the inner thigh. Come back to the center and make your way into low lunge position. Very good. So remember, in this pose, you can keep your hands on top of the thighs, maybe pulsing up and down here. Any arm variation is welcome. If you feel like you're wobbling a little bit, perhaps it is because your right knee is too close to the front. So walk that right leg back. So you're really trying to take up the full length of the mat, perhaps. Depending on your height, of course, you need to adjust. Open the chest if you're taking that version with the arms. And let's slowly make our way into pigeon pose. Remember to sit on a block if you need to. Inhaling deep and exhaling, lower all the way down onto the forearms. The more your shin is parallel with the front of the mat, the more intense the hip opener will be for you. If the forehead doesn't reach the mat, you can take a little cushion or a blanket to support the head, or you can place your fist and stack them on each other and rest your foreheads on your hands. Remember, although it's a passive stretch, still engage your core here, so use the core strength to keep your hips level as much as possible. Very good. Let's come up, everyone, and make your way back into downward facing dog. Feel how the left and the right side of the body feel now, especially hips, since we've been concentrating on this area here of the last few postures. Lower down to the knees. Let's rest in a child's pose now. Reach the arms forwards and stay here for a few centered breaths. Let's make our way up to a seated position. Coming into a version of easy pose here, so bring your left foot on the floor, shin parallel to the mat, and see if you can stack your right foot so it's directly above the left. This is different to your normal seated position because you're trying to keep your shins parallel with one another. In this way, you will start to notice your glutes and your outer thighs stretching. Hands can be behind you, or you can reach the hands forwards depending on where you start to feel that moment of bliss. Take a few concentrated breaths here. In through the nose, out through the nose. Let go of any tension in the body. Lift yourself up. Let's make our way to the other side. Swap the feet around. And if the toes don't reach all the way to the outer edge of the thigh, that's okay, as long as you keep your shins as parallel as possible. Your hands can remain backwards and you lift your chest up as you press both thighs down. After a few breaths, if you feel good and you can go a little deeper, then guide your body forwards and come down onto the forearms. And stay in this pose for a few deep breaths, modifying whatever level you're starting at, because the body is going to be different for everyone, even for yourself, depending on the time of day that you're practicing. For me personally, my body in the morning is very different to my body when I'm practicing in the afternoon. And again, it's going to be very different to how I feel in the evening. Let's come up to a seated position with both legs extended. Take your left hand and then start to bring the foot across, cradling the left knee. Hands can hold the foot and the knee, or if you'd like to go deeper, then place the foot and the knee into the creases of your elbow. Shin parallel to your chest. Take a few rocks here. And then just hold for a few breaths, bringing the shin close to the center of your chest as you sit up tall. Make sure you avoid hunching the lower back. Lift the spine and breathe. We're replicating the same position as we just did in pigeon pose, except in a seated format, in an upright position. Now left hand holds the edge of the left foot. Imagine you're drawing an arrow backwards here. Pull the knee back as far as you can. Another analogy I like to use is oiling your joint here, your hip joint. And just stay for a breath or two. Break the pose. Let's move across to the other side. Start to cradle your right knee, either with the hands. Maybe after a few breaths, you open into the elbows here. Very good, everyone. And then just stay for a few breaths, feeling really great in this stretch. Sitting up nice and tall, lengthening the spine. And come into that pulling of the arrow pose very shortly. So get ready. Right hand now holds the edge of the foot. Place your left hand on the floor for support. And let's rock and pull that kneecap back. So you're opening the hip as far as you can. Very good, guys. Holding here. And break the pose. Feet together, knees out to the side, create a diamond shape between the heels of your feet and the groin. Let's come into bound angle pose. Make sure if you have any groin or knee injuries, be careful. Don't fold too far forwards, just stay up high here. Very nice. Stretching through your groin. Remember not to push your body beyond its limits. If it's feeling tight today, just stay upright. You don't have to go too deep. As long as you're feeling some sort of stretch in the inner thighs, that's where we want to be. Let's come up here gracefully. Gonna come to lie on the backs. Hug the knees into the chest and take a few circles, outward circles with the knees. Going out, going in. Good. And happy baby pose. You can grab your hands and hold on to the edges of the feet. Take a few rocks from side to side. This posture represents an opportunity for you to get this gentle stretch, not only in your hips, but it's really starting to target your inner thighs, groin, hamstrings even, if you lengthen the heels upwards a bit, and massaging through the back. Very good, everyone. Just stay here. Enjoy the benefits of this magical posture. Descending, soles of the feet on the ground, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. So it was that same pose that we did earlier on, except this time you are lying on your back. Reclined, bound angle pose. If you have two blocks, you can also place it underneath the outer edges of the thigh for support. Continue settling your groins deep into the pelvis, and the knees will melt away to the edges. When you're done, stretch the legs and let's make our way into Shavasana, final relaxation pose. Take a few deep breaths in through the nose. This time open the mouth, big sigh out. Once more just like this, breathing in. Open the mouth. Let your body come into a moment of relaxation. Start to move your fingers and the toes. Bring some life back to the body as you hug the knees into the chest. Take a few rocks. Find yourself lying on the right side. Take a moment here before you gently prop the body back up to a comfortable seat as we meet back in Padmasana. Recognize how you're feeling now, if you've noticed any shifts in not just the physical layer of your body, but more importantly, the emotional body. Have your thoughts changed in nature from negative to neutral, or neutral to positive? Hands to the heart. Let us take a moment to dedicate our practice, the energies, all towards the wish for all sentient beings' happiness. May all our actions of body, speech, and mind be in harmony with kindness and compassion always. Namaste.
Thank you everyone for coming to join us for our practice today. We've really enjoyed serving you. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel for weekly classes to your inbox. In the meantime, keep a happy mind and a happy heart. Namaste.